Oh God, American British accents just always just sounds so bad usually, which
It
is
would be
like
so bad.
hilarious.
It
It would be
would be
so
so
good.
bad. No, I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
hi
I can,
guys.
I yeah. They always sound Australian. I wanted you to read it.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yeah, 'cause I want to hear your
Oh.
British accent now. You've got to do it. You've hyped it up now. Yeah,
I
let's
say
put you on the
turtle.
spot. Let's see how you like it.
Turtle. Turtle.
Turtle,
Turtle.
turtle. Yeah,
Turtle.
Americans
That's what
always
I
go for
want.
Cockney. Yeah, they always go for
Turtle
Cockney as well. So
and
my accent is
tortoise.
like it's
Turtle
called
and tortoise lovers. Welcome back to the Reptile Rendezvous podcast. Podcast. I can't do it. Podcast.
Cast.
Sound like a.
It's Australian.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's Australian again. It's Aussie.
Yeah, most Americans go for Cockney. Hey there. Hey there sounds weird. Okay, I'm just gonna say hey. You're just gonna laugh at me the entire time. Hey, turtle and tortoise lovers. Welcome back to the Reptile Rendezvous podcast. I'm your host, Alex and all her animals, and I'm so excited to dive into today's topic with our special guest, Anthony Pierlioni, Mr. Pasta, our guest expert who has been working in the field of turtle conservation for over a decade. He's dedicated his career to protecting these amazing creatures, educating others about the importance of preserving their habitats. And without further ado, let's welcome Anthony.
Woo!
Applause.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's just nice. Yeah, it's just the yeah. So I was a guest. I thought about starting a podcast for a while, but then I thought I don't know if anyone will be interested, or I just wasn't sure. And then I was a guest on my friend's one, and we recorded it like last week some point. And I was like, I really like this. And then the few people that I've told who who I've said, okay, I think I'm going to start it. Like I've got a few guests. They're like, you'd make such a great podcast host because you're really easy to talk to, and you know people feel comfortable around you, and which is great because I can be quite antisocial. I think a lot of people assume because of I do have a big personality, but then it takes me a lot of time to recharge from social interactions as well, especially when I'm sleep deprived and tired and emotional. But at the end of the day, I really enjoy it. It's like, I know we've been speaking for a while, and we've not actually like spoken face to face yet, and it's just great to have that interaction, like to actually talk instead of just message. And it's just fun. It's really what I needed at the moment.
Yeah. And I
So
was mentioning how I've been doing podcasts for a really long time now. It's been like 11 years. Who's counting? And I've had so many guests over the years that when you actually take the time to spend an hour or two or whatever it ends up being together face to face, like now we're friends because how many people have you actually done that with? Had like a 1 hour long video chat with? They're your friends and your family and that sort of thing. So it brings this kind of feeling of togetherness and community that's really special.
it is really lovely, and you're such an admirable person. And it's honestly just quite an honor to say that you're my friend, because you do so much for, well, we'll get into that shortly, but you do so much, and it's just you're just my kind of person. Just
I appreciate that.
cares about
I appreciate that so much. Yeah, animals first, always. But like, I don't mean to get into this so early. I don't want to necessarily take it there either. I don't know if you know of Dominique DeFalco and her podcast, which is now like not necessarily active at the moment, but at the same time though, I'm just another middle-aged bald white dude, and like that's an issue too. Like we need to be better about building the community. So like you can look at it and say, oh my gosh, Anthony, he's accomplished some things. He's bred some rare animals. He's been in it for a while. People know what he's doing. But really, I can only do so much. I guess it was like almost 2 weeks ago now, I spoke at the Daytona National Reptile Breeders Expo, which is a great time, and it's been going on for over, I don't know, it's like 36 years or something like that. And I can remember going the first time 13 years ago, and I couldn't believe how amazing it felt just to be there. And then to go back now, this is the next time I went 13 years later to speak at their big like turtle night they do beforehand, which is amazing. But before we did that, we had a 12-passenger van full of mostly the next generation of turtle nerds. So, and for anyone who's listening, I'm a turtle nerd. And basically, you know, people in their 20s who, some of them very young, as young as like 20, 21 years old, who are obsessed with turtles. And we basically went all the way around in a circle, almost the entire state of Florida, visiting some of the most incredible private collections in the entire world, checking out amazing reptiles and other animals, you know, right? Big YouTubers and stuff like that. But the whole point is, right, we need to build a community, and it can't just be, you know, I can't like hold down the next generation because I want to have my time that I've worked hard for. Like now, with any little bit of notoriety that I've been able to get from the work that I've done, which isn't huge. I'm just a turtle guy, which means I'm not a reptile guy. I need to use that to try to...
You're a bit more than just a turtle guy, but...
Well, to pass it off to the next generation. So I feel the same way about the podcasting. You know, this is your second episode now. I'm thrilled and honored to be here and to try to help pass the torch, because you'll be able to not only do what I've done for years, but to do it better than I've done it. And that's the most exciting part. I'm
emotional. You're going to make me cry
it's
again.
Okay. It's all right. We could cry. We could get emotional. I'm emotional too. I have 2 daughters, and ever since I had them, I cry at like every Disney movie that I watch. So I can't help it. So I'll cry. I'll cry with
Moana.
You. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Like, when the grandma turns into a stingray, I don't want to spoil too much. I guess people can make their own assumptions from that. I was like,
that voice inside is who you are. Sorry.
The thing is, like, no, I love it. Bursting into spontaneous song is like my jam. So, when you joined, you were singing, and I was doing that yesterday. I forgot to mute my mic because we were still uploading, and I had the song from the Wii channel stuck in my head. I don't know why. So I was.
What song is that? Going, come on, hit me with it.
Do. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's just.
That is. I'm just going. I just see like little characters getting ready to play tennis.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, it was so like out of sync and stuff, wasn't it? Like, and then they had people who the next, I don't know when the next Turtle Alliance conference is. I thought there was going to be one like this month-ish, but I haven't heard anything. And that was another thing that was really like probably like one of the highlights of like, I don't want to say like my year, or like my life, but it was like meeting Chris and Casey.
Yeah.
They were just like, I've said it before, like they say never meet your heroes, but they were jet lagged, they were tired, and you know they had a long day of socializing, and they still gave me the time because we've got that video that's on my Instagram, but they gave me so much more time than that, and talking about rescues and you know just so many different things, and yeah, they gave me a lot of their time, and I was excited. And I'm a bit claustrophobic, so the auditorium made me sort of panic. I was obviously there for Chris's talk, and every time he mentioned Otis or Lakai, I went woo. Of course, like out loud in front of everyone. But
that's
great. That was, and then just I can't wait to like go and visit them one day. And they're just
if you ever make it stateside, you let us know. That would be great. You could visit. I'm about 3.5 hours from them, so that's a far drive, but at the same time, you know, pretty close. Actually, after we did this tour around Florida, we talked about maybe doing something in the Northeast like that too, the Northeast part of the United States. But yeah, Chris and Casey are the best. They're really very close friends of mine, and even Casey and my wife are friends. Casey and I are friends. So we used to go down when our kids were young, pretty much pre-COVID. I think things changed for us at that time, but we used to go down for 3-4 days and just stay at the Leone's house and just play with turtles for 3 or 4 days, which was awesome. Maybe mix in a beach day. Yeah, just amazing. So they're just good people. They're just good people, normal people.
They are.
Not all reptile folks are the same, and I don't care who it is. They get together with you. Just it feels right.
It really does. Like, especially for someone for people who have such a large following as well, and who know so many people in the industry. They were just so down to earth, and like I wasn't expecting them to not be, but then I wasn't expecting them to just be so, especially as I said, after being jet lagged and really tired and like filming their own stuff. And I don't know if you're going to see Chris again soon, but I did reach out to him on Instagram, but because he does follow me, so it would have gone through. But I know they're like stinking busy all the time.
Always. So, were you asking him to come on and be a guest on this podcast?
Yeah, and I was like, I was gonna be like, oh, I don't want it to sound like if I asked you, I didn't want it to sound.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. Consider me asked. I've been talking to him a lot. You know what's funny? So I'm looking at potentially starting a YouTube channel, which is weird because I did YouTube videos like 12, 13 years ago for the Turtle Room, my nonprofit organization, as a way to kind of raise money. And now, anyway, fast forward to like 4, 5, 6 years ago, somewhere in there, just hanging out with Chris, one of my best friends, and telling him, and just for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, this is Chris and Casey Leone of Garden State Tortoise, a very popular YouTube channel that should be even more popular than it is because their production value is that high. It's incredible. And actually, I'm going to take credit right now. I'm not just saying this. This is Chris will corroborate this story. I was like pestering him to start a YouTube channel. Like, Chris, like, you got to look at these popular channels like Camp Kennan and other channels.
Like a percentage.
No, that's okay. I'm just happy.
Donate it to the death room.
Well, our friend actually has been doing the same thing to me now, which is funny. Our friend Maurice has been like, Anthony, you're hatching all these things and you got this big greenhouse and all this different stuff going on. You should make a YouTube channel. So now this week, I've started recording some clips to get back into it, which is really crazy and scary.
It's a lot of work.
But I will take credit for Garden State Tortoise, the YouTube channel, because I did pester him to do that. And if you ask him to this day, he'll tell you that I was the person who was telling him that he needed to do that.
No, they do great things.
They really do. Yeah.
And Otis is pretty much famous.
Otis, more famous than we are. That's for sure.
T-shirt. Yeah, my Otis Silla T-shirt.
So funny.
Everyone just like, oh, it's so good. Like the Jurassic Park, and like, because I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park, I've got the logo tattooed on my arm.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. No, I've got the Jurassic Park logo, and then I've got like a raptor claw on my other arm, and I've got so much, but it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, but what you're doing right now is really smart. You're doing a service to our community, right? So if you do this podcast like this, and as it grows, because like on our podcast, we do live on YouTube, and people will I didn't even know they could, but people could just donate like while you're live streaming or whatever. But anyway, when people listen, I think
Stars is Facebook actually.
But I know you're providing this free service, right? You're bringing these, experts or at least interesting people to have an interesting conversation. You're doing that as a service to the community. And then as you do that, your own experiences will come out. People will get to know you really, really well and what you're doing and what you're about.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to and hat goes off to you folks who do rescue and rehab, because that's a lot of really basic. You're basically saying, and I think about this all the time because professionally I work in the veterinary field, and you get into that field or you get into rescue rehab because you love the animals. And then basically as a thank you to you, the universe says, here's some of the most grotesque, disgusting, sad, heart-wrenching things that you could ever see as an animal lover. And you're just going to have to put up with that because you love the animals so much. So it's not all puppies and rainbows, and it's not a happy thing. And you're doing it out of the love of your heart. And, all of us in this community owe you a debt of gratitude for the hard work that you do.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I was actually like saying that I was talking to Chris about because Bubbles had just passed when they came to England. They hadn't announced it yet. But you know, they told that they said it, and I was just like, that's another reason why I think it's so important to spread awareness and help educate people in a friendly, you know, approachable way, because I'm not going to say to you, you've done this wrong, you shouldn't have done that. You know, I would say thank you for reaching out. Like it takes a lot to reach out. Here's how I can help you. If I don't know about the animal, then I will know someone that does. So I'll be able to help. But it's to avoid things like that. Like I've seen, you know, what it looks like underneath a tortoise's shell because they've been attacked by a dog, or they haven't had UV. There was one tortoise that I met that only had, like, I think it was like a kitchen light or something, was in a 3-foot box for 20 years, and it looked like it was a pancake tortoise, like, and it's just, or, you know, any neglect cases or just anything is just, it's hard. But then also the reward you get from it, like, you know, I've hand reared tortoises that weren't going to make it, or frogs that had stopped eating, or tamed savannah monitors that wouldn't even, you couldn't go in the room without them just hissing and tail whipping you, to being able to hold them. I think that makes up for a lot of, because most of the time, if not all of the time, these animals are just scared. They've either been mistreated or they're just scared. And, you know, we have to appreciate that and work with them. And it is time consuming and it's a lot of effort, but the reward, I was saying this with Terence yesterday, the rewards that you get, because his black throat was quite scared of people, and now he's like the friendliest little guy. I love him. And yeah, we were just saying about how rewarding it is. And I guess breeding endangered species, rare species, you get the same kind of good feeling about it, that just puts all of the worst cases, just, it doesn't make them so bad sometimes.
Yeah, it's ups and downs, always pros and cons, ups and downs, and obviously, you know, the good moments have to outweigh the bad. Otherwise, you know, maybe we're not meant to do this for very long. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get really tough, really tough at times, for sure.
I think it's also good having friends like you and Mandy, and we've got like there's a couple of us we got a rescue chat on Instagram, and it's nice to have people that understand. Like you can sympathize as much. Like it's great when people can sympathize, but empathy is like, it just, you know, someone that's been through it, or, you know, is struggling because they've, I don't know, they've had a tough case, or they've lost one, or it just, for any reason, it's just nice to help each other, and when we need it. And I'm just
absolutely.
The tiredness is like the words are in the brain, but they don't want to come out the mouth.
That's all right. All right. Maybe you end up saying something really funny and we can laugh about it later.
I mean, I usually just say random stuff. So I think
I encourage you to do so.
Yeah, no, I do. It's the ADHD as well. Like, especially in the evening when the Ritalin starts to wear off, and I'm kind of just like, just talking. I mean, I talk nonsense anyway. So
maybe you should record in the evenings then. Yeah, the talking nonsense is great.
Oh yeah, that's just like my standard.
Like I podcast. I heard it somewhere, like, and I think it was a slight at men in general, which I thought was interesting, but couldn't disagree with. Like, instead of therapy, men create podcasts, and I'm like, ooh, touche. You know, I've got 2 podcasts, so I understand. I won't fight you on that. But yeah, you mentioned. Can we talk about endangered animals? Is that okay? You mentioned it Can we use that?
Yeah, I don't know where it cut off because I was saying Anthony Pierlioni because I feel like I say that weird.
That was perfect, by the way. That was excellent.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yes, that was incredible.
I feel like, I don't know, there's some words that in a British accent sound weird, like taco sounds weird.
Yeah, it does.
The name Saul, because of like Better Call Saul, sounds just because like with an American accent, it's like Better Call Saul. So it makes more like Carl, Saul. But then Cool Saul just sounds weird. So I was like,
I love this.
Oh, I'm pleased. I was pleased with myself because I was only mildly overthinking. I was like, Pierlioni.
It was perfect.
Pierlioni.
That
like,
was
just
amazing. The worst thing about my last name is that it is very rare. Like, I'm the only Anthony Pierlioni in the entire world. But it sounds like phonetically, it sounds like it's spelled. It just is weird because you've never seen it before. So
it sounds like a pasta as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I think it would be good as well. A nice bowl of Pierlioni. It just sounds like a thing, doesn't it? What kind of? I think it's a spaghetti. I don't know why. I feel like it would be.
Regardless of what it would look like, it would be a big bowl. You would have to have a big, because I'm a very big person. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm very, very tall. So Chris Leone and I are. Well. What's funny is Chris Leone and I have very similar last names, Pierlioni and Leone, and we're very good friends. And he's like this big, and I'm like 4 times the size of him, and we're both Italian American gentlemen.
I don't know if you've seen. You know the video where I'm sort of like, hey, I'm here with Chris and Casey. I was like towering over them, and I think if you look at it closely, you can tell I've kind of gone down a little bit, but also the angle, I was just like, yeah, because I'm nearly 6 foot, so I'm quite tall. Yeah, I'm a giant, and yeah, they are more vertically challenged than I. So I was just, you'll look back at the video now and go, yeah, she does. But yeah, no, I'm quite tall, but I do love being tall. Men fear it. Most men fear it, which I find empowering. So I think with like the tattoos and stuff as well, like I do look quite, I don't know, like people would assume that I'm very mean or just like, ugh. And then they talk to me and they're like, you're really nice. Like you looked really intimidating, but you're actually really nice.
It happens to me. I don't know. Forgive me for not being really up on the metric system, but I'm big. I'm like 6'8", like 340 pounds maybe. So I don't know what that is in stones or even kilograms, but I'm really big. So I don't know, probably like 240% of Chris's weight. So anyway, not to pick on him, but again, I told you he's one of my best friends. So so sometimes I'll get that as well. Nobody ever says I'm mean unless I don't talk, and then they're like, "Oh, I was a little intimidated."
Yeah, I think it's the tattoos as well, like especially on the face and the hands and the neck. It's just a lot of like, well, pretty much like every. Do you ever see like people on TV and like in films that when they got tattoos, they're always like the bad guys? It's just, but yeah, no, I do it for myself. I know it's not it's other people's, thing that they have to deal with. So as long as, I mean, I'm the kind of person that's just like, spread love, smile at people. You never know who needs it kind of person. So I don't do it because I've got tattoos. Most of the time I forget I've got tattoos, to be honest.
Same here. I mean, I don't have neck or face tattoos, but I do. Same thing. But you're doing so much for, again, like I was talking about the community and the next generation and all of that sort of thing. Like you're coming out here and spreading positivity. It's what you're trying to do with this. So I think that's
positivity,
that's amazing.
Love,
that'll go a long way.
Education.
A lot of those thoughts are archaic, though, right? Like they're outdated, and like I'm not going to hire anyone who has tattoos on their hands or forearms. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. So
it's not going to impact. Like, I mean, because
things are changing, like, and it'll be totally different in a couple of decades. Yeah.
Full hands and palms and
the palms too.
That's cool. They were a bastard. They were bad. There's like, I mean, I'm very good with pain. I accidentally dropped. I was making a cup of tea, and I've got quite a large like mug, and it was boiling water with a tea bag and sugar, and obviously sugar in boiling water. Ouch. I turned around, knocked it off the side, all the way down my leg, and like part of like my butt cheek, and it was quite bad. And I went to the doctor. Luckily I could get an appointment, and the nurse was just sat there like, anybody else right now would be screaming in pain, and you're just sat there just chill. Like,
wow.
I think, I don't know, the pain of existing is far worse than physical pain. I know that's a joking.
You're
not
a lot
joking,
tougher than I am. Yeah, seriously, not seriously. You're tougher than I am.
Palms are bad, and the ends of the fingers as well. That was pretty bad. It was pretty gnarly. But yeah, it looks pretty. So, oh yeah, that looks better. I like my flowers.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. Yeah, because it's true. It's just like, but then, yeah, I think it's just good to be yourself. Just be immature.
Yes.
You know, you could, if you're just going to be like stern and like serious and conform to society's expectations and like act like an adult, that's just not my kind of, it's not my cup of tea. It's just,
no, have fun with it.
I can't do it.
We only get one life. We only get one life. Don't take yourself too seriously. Never get out alive. I think that's a good point, just for kind of what I've tried to do in this reptile world, and specifically with turtles, is, I was like depressed in my early 20s because here I was with my college degree that meant nothing in my brain at that time, because I was interested in turtles and herpetology, but I had a degree in fine arts, and I'm like, what could I possibly do? And then, I got together with somebody who has his master's in education. He's a teacher, and together, we worked together while he was creating the Turtle Room, which is the nonprofit that I'm the vice president of. And basically, our founding principles with that group is like, you don't have to be a biologist. You don't have to be like the stuffed shirt, take everything seriously person to make a difference in this world that we care about so much. Like, you can just be a caring person. You can have, a different set of skills than your average person, or any other person that you could pick out of a lineup, and just embrace that and go with it and see what you can create. I'm finishing right now my fourth book. My fourth book just went to the printers, and then my fifth book I'm finishing right now. And I never in a million years would have thought that would be possible. But it is. And the point is that if you just every day look at it as like, what can I do today to make the world a better place for, in my situation, turtles, then you just go for it and you see what you can do. And the things that you can build, it's just insane. So anyway, don't take yourself too seriously and just work at it and see what happens. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah, because I've not got any like kind of degree in anything, or I'm not afraid to say that I'm pretty new. I've only been doing like, looking after reptiles and amphibians for maybe 4 or 5 years, and yeah, learning every day. Obviously, like frogs and lizards are kind of my jam. I know basics about snakes and stuff, and I know a fair amount about turtles, more than the average person. Love them. There is a soft shell that needs a home, a Chinese soft shell that needs a home, and I'm just like because I a while ago I fostered one and completely fell in love. They're
really cool.
Love.
This was a Chinese soft shell as well? The one that you had was a Chinese soft shell as well? Pelodiscus sinensis.
Yeah, I don't have enough brain power to remember the Latin names.
You will.
I think, I will. Yeah.
You will, 100%.
I think turtles are just so underrated. Like, people just don't realize. I mean, at least not a lot of people that I know, like when I've had turtles and tortoises, that like I've had friends over or whatever that have never met a turtle or a tortoise, or like the soft shell she was like the most social, like she was the opposite of what soft shells should be. I think that's also why like I loved her so much, because they're usually quite like, you know, not that friendly. And she was just like, she loved people watching, she loved being like hand fed, she wouldn't like try and attack you if you picked her up. They're so slippery. But it's, yeah, so many people are just like, wow, I didn't realize like quite how much personality they have, which they really do.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned that a couple of times. You mentioned with your conversation with Terrence, and then now, and I wanted to just speak on that, the whole personality piece, and then how like tame an animal is, and seeing that as something that we could look at as progress, right? So if I have an animal, and I see that, like I've seen Tom Crutchfield write that before, like that's like the pinnacle, like when both the keeper and the kept, and then the kept is, you know, gets more comfortable and will accept you into its space and all that stuff. I think that's great. But I actually personally, this is a preference, I like it when my animals want to kill me. So if they pee on me or hiss at me or try to bite me or any of that, I think that's great, because when I am out in the field, and we went in April, we went across the entire country from northern Florida all the way to Los Angeles. So the entire US, the long way, to find as many species as we can. And we found 65 herp species, but 28 of them were different turtles. And that's why we took that specific route, because there's a lot of species through there. When you're out in the field, these animals want to kill you. They're wild animals. They're not what's the word I'm looking for? They're not domesticated. So that's not a very large or special word, but I could not remember it. So obviously I have a great vocabulary. So anyway, they're not domesticated. And if they act like wild animals, I think that's great, because then maybe they have a life where they're not used to being handled and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's just my personal preference.
I mean, it's very important to obviously make that distinction between if it's a wild animal and if it's, you know, captive bred and someone's, so like it belongs to someone rather than, and also that it's not tame because it's under enriched or, you know, not getting proper, because especially with like lizards, if they're not getting, you know, the right enrichment or, you know, diet or lighting, they can just be very lethargic.
Sure.
But
that's an interesting.
It's very different. Yeah, that's it's very different. Obviously, yeah, in the wild, I don't think it's all part of the fun of herping. I think if they want to kill you, so
yeah.
But
I think
no, in captivity, I kind of meant that they're happy, they're comfortable instead of terrified. So
it makes total sense. And that and when I had much less, and that's the other piece too, is I have a lot of animals, so it doesn't make sense that I'd be able to, like, you know, to try to handle them all, to help them make that transition to getting used to it. A lot of people will take, and again, I'm speaking mostly from turtles now, you know, but a lot of people will take them out of their enclosure and put them in little cups and feed them outside of their enclosure to help keep the enclosure clean, the habitat clean. I don't even like to do that. I like them to feel secure. I think stress is a huge killer for turtles specifically. So I want to leave them where they are, let them be comfortable. And then I'll, you know, if they hate me when I touch them or whatever, then so be it. I want them to be secure, feel secure, and that they're not, you know, being handled against their will all the time.
I've got a toad that was a stowaway that was found at an airport, and obviously being wild caught and a wild animal instead of, you know, she's not really like, I don't really like the word pet because they're a lot more to me than that, but she's not someone like Toto Baggins is her name. She's not one that I handle a lot because she's not used to it. It would just stress her out, you know. And then other animals that I've got that have been used to being handled or whatever, that's different because they're not just like taken from their homes and
Right.
But yeah, no, I try my best for her. So
yeah,
and she's
I get it.
Everyone.
I bred bearded dragons in college, and the only reason why I'm all turtles all the time is because I don't have enough space and time to keep all the turtles that I want to. So it makes sense to focus in. But I was like a reptile lover at one point in my life, which is crazy because it's been so long now that I've been just tunnel vision down the turtle and tortoise path. But I used to breed bearded dragons, and yeah, having a bearded dragon that wants to kill you, that stinks. Having bearded dragons that don't get along with other bearded dragons, like that can be rough when you're trying to breed them and everything like that. So anyway, I'm speaking out of my wheelhouse, but I do remember those days and would prefer a dragon that didn't want to kill me to one that did. And I certainly saw the difference of those. But with the turtles, I want them to kill me, and I'm okay with that. Want them to want to kill me.
Yeah.
I don't want them to succeed, at least not yet. Yeah.
Oh,
they can eat me when I die. They can definitely eat me. I wouldn't mind, but I don't think they could. I don't think my 300 and I think I have like 395 turtles. I don't think they could eat me if I died. I think I have mostly small turtles. Yeah, they're small and lame. They couldn't take me down, even if I was dead.
Oh.
Just saying.
Yeah, they wouldn't make it, like, because you're so tall, they wouldn't even make it on top of you to like try and they just big. Like this. Yeah, just should like eat away at your sides.
Yeah, they'd take bites, but they couldn't finish me off. Yeah.
What a silly little, just a hypothetical there. I love it. Yeah, you're just going to be like Mr. Pasta now, so
that's fine. I love it. Don't threaten me with a good time. Maybe that should be the YouTube channel. Turtle Pasta.
What? Turtle? Yeah, it won't be Pondcast though, because the first time I heard Pondcast, I was like, that is genius. That is absolutely
Isn't it good? I know. And there's
good.
Also other Pondcasts out there. There's like a hockey podcast called the Pondcast, but like we were the first there as well. So we've been doing it. We're the second longest running reptile podcast in existence. Morelia Python Radio is number one. And we're the longest, we were the first turtle podcast ever too. So it's been a long time now that we've been doing it. We only record once a month, but it's been pretty nice. So we do that as part of our nonprofit, the Turtle Room.
My face is actually hurting from smiling so much. Like,
yeah, that happens too.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's better than it's better than hurting from like crying or something. So you're enjoying yourself as well. So.
Yeah, I am enjoying myself. Are you kidding me? The opportunity to talk about the thing that I love most in the world. This every day should be so lovely. I try. Actually, I think that might be my goal, is to make it so that every day is so lovely. Just lean into it all the way. I don't know how much my wife loves that, but just try to have fun with it and fill my days with as many turtle related and reptile related things as I can.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Oh, I don't know if you meant to mute yourself then. You muted?
I did.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay.
I was trying to help you. I want you to know, because there's a little delay too. I want you to know when I'm shutting up.
Oh, I thought you were like secretly farting or something, like just.
A gentleman never tells.
That's what it was.
Nobody. I thought you guys were. I thought you guys across the pond were respectful. That is ridiculous. No, actually, I wasn't.
I just heard was like, yeah, no. All I heard was like laughing and then like desk slapping.
Oh, yeah, I probably did slap the desk.
It's always, it's hit well, like when there's like some slapping, like, that's when it's really funny, or when it's so funny that there's just no sound, like it's not audible. That's like another, it's a good feeling. So your favorite question, can you tell our listeners about you and your work in turtle conservation? I mean, we've got the we've got like the other questions coming, so we can quickly go over this.
That was better than the question that is really my favorite, aka least favorite. That how'd you get into it, right? Oh, well, I was 5 years old, this and that. So my work in turtle conservation and turtle preservation, I kind of try to do a little bit of both, and that's what my organization is really built upon. Is that idea, like I was saying earlier, anyone can make a difference and make their small difference. Be the change that they want to see in the world. So you don't have to be a zoologist, a biologist. You can just be a person, a concerned citizen who wants to spread the word, who wants to keep animals, who wants to be a citizen scientist, any of that. And then we're also built upon the idea that, all facets are important. So, there are rehabbers and rescues that don't like the pet trade. And there are biologists that don't like the pet trade. And there are zoologists that don't like private keepers, and vice versa in every one of these situations. And I think that the animals, it's kind of like politics, that we can't make real change and real progress until we start to come together across the aisle and start to work with other people. So the Turtle Room is really built on that. So we have 3 facets to our organization, our nonprofit organization. One is in situ conservation of wild spaces and animals, particularly turtles. Ex situ preservation programs, where we're breeding endangered species to try to, be that kind of last hope for some species that end up gone in the wild. We have several species that we work with that are extinct, at least functionally, if not totally extinct in the wild. And then also educational programs. And I think that last one, the latter, education programs, are probably the most important. You could save a turtle here or there, but really if we don't change the human perspective and human knowledge of what's going on, then we have no chance. So that's my work as a turtle conservationist and preservationist.
I was going to say that sort of segues us into one of the questions. How can people help native turtles and wildlife in their area?
I think it's different depending on where you live, right? There are folks right? Yeah, there are some people
very general.
Yeah, but which is fine. But there are some people who live in certain parts of Europe that may not even have a native turtle species. There are some places where wildlife laws are and protections are governed by counties, some by states, some by little towns, some by the country that you're in. So depending on where you are, I think getting involved in government is a really great way to help. And then building platforms like this. Alex, if this podcast doesn't exist, then people don't get this message. So, doing what you're doing right now makes a huge difference. Even though you're just starting out, like that's got to be the driving force behind it. And I have to remind myself that what I've done for turtles, the actual turtles in my care, may actually pale in comparison to what I can do with the platforms that I've built over the course of the last couple decades.
Do you need a degree to get into species conservation?
Great question. The answer is no. There are amazing citizen scientists that, over time are able to build trust with whether it be like nonprofit organizations or with lawmakers or folks in government that grant permits and that sort of thing to get out there and actually do real conservation. I normally use the word preservation to refer to ex situ stuff like the breeding of endangered species, but really when a species is gone, that becomes real species conservation. When McCord's box turtle hasn't been found in the wild in over a decade, and I breed that species, that's conservation now. Like that species would be gone without captive breeding, and especially private breeding, because most zoos are not caring about these little turtles, one little brown turtle after another. It's like the different finches on the Galapagos Islands. Like this is actual evolution before our eyes, these important species, and they're being lost because they don't bring people through the turnstiles. And that's nothing against our friends at the zoos. It's just the truth. They can't keep every species, just like we can't keep every species, but we can focus in a way that's non-bureaucratic, and we can really do a lot for certain animals that we really care a lot about. So you don't need a degree.
From that, how did you reach out to your current network of species conservationists, or how can people do that?
It's a really good question.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you have to understand something I mentioned before when we were early on in our discussion today, Alex, was like, if you try every day to make the world a better place for the animals that you care about, the species you care about, eventually stuff starts to come together. And I could remember a time, maybe about 15 years ago, where all I wanted people to do, someone to do, was give me the time of day. Like, I send out emails, I cold emailed people like, hey, my name is Anthony and I'm really interested in working with this species, or I'm really interested in helping however I can. And I remember just getting no response, or very little response. I was contacted by, at one point, this gentleman named Ralph Till. And Ralph lives in Florida, and he is one of the world's most accomplished breeders of the Egyptian tortoise, which is now on the Endangered Species Act. It's probably extirpated from Egypt, and which is obviously very sad, and probably on its way to going totally extinct in the wild. And anyway, at the time, Ralph had just got some spider tortoises, and we were talking about that. And then I ended up getting some spider tortoises. So we spent like the better part of 12, 13 years just being like email pen pals. And now, we're still like best buds, but really both of us at that time, it was funny that we found each other, because both of us at that time were cold calling each other and different people who were interested, because we just wanted to talk to anybody about what we were passionate about. And now Ralph and I are both the people that people are reaching out to, trying to get involved. And it hurts my heart sometimes, because I want to get back to everybody, but I'm busy. I have like 2 jobs, and I've got almost 400 animals here. So it's tough sometimes. And I think really the key bit of advice that I would give to anyone is to not give up, be the squeaky wheel, keep asking, keep reaching out, and don't take it personally if somebody doesn't get back to you. People are busy, people have, life comes up, and, there's family things and obligations and stuff that happens in people's lives. But just know that life is short, but at the same time, there's a lot of life to live. And if you are someone who's interested in getting involved, and you reach out to people, and you keep just, again, every day trying to connect with people, it will happen. And you just have to stay, people want to see that you're not like a flash in the pan type of person who's going to talk a big game and then, be selling off all your animals, or, giving up the prime, research spot where these endangered species are that, people can then poach. Like, there's a lot of trust and a lot of trepidation at first for a lot of these folks. So you just have to stay the course and kind of prove yourself. And any opportunity you get to do that, I suggest trying to take it if you can, if you have the time and ability. And then you'll see that over time, it grows into things that you could have never imagined. I can't believe my life is real, Alex. Honestly, like I have to pinch myself. Like, professionally, my job with VCA animal hospitals, I can't believe my life is real. With my animals, like, I just wanted to work with any of the species that I work with, not just one. And then I get to go and speak at events, and I get to go out into the field and see these amazing biologists who are doing incredible work to really save species. Like, the fact that I get to do what I do, I can't believe my life is real. Yeah.
How do you help local reptile zoos, educational centers, and nonprofits around you?
Yeah, that's a big piece, right? Like, I wanted to figure out what can I do. So that's how I started writing. I started writing a lot of articles. There's some articles that I've written that, like, this is the only 2 articles on Pelusios nanus, the African dwarf mud turtle, that have ever been written, were written by me. One in Reptiles magazine and one in the Batagur, which is the Turtle and Tortoise Preservation Group's annual newsletter type publication. That's it. And both are kind of hard to get after the fact, but I'm really proud of that. That's a species that, like, a lot of people should be interested in or working with or know a lot of. They're not in zoos, but they could be in the future. And, like, you think zoologists don't check that stuff out. They actually do. So I think the first thing for me personally was writing, but I do really like getting out, doing educational talks, and making posts of those places that I go, so that I could try to bring a little bit of awareness. But I don't have a huge social media following, but I think just spreading the word and getting out there and trying to help whoever I can has been a lovely thing that I'm really grateful that I've been able to do. But I think collaboration, connecting people, and trying to just support however I can.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're friends. It's great.
We are friends.
It's
100%.
nice. Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Tortoises. That's a new species that I've just invented.
I like that.
There. White turtles and tortoises.
That's good. There was this exercise that we did for my organization. They stole it from like this Mark. I'm sorry. I was going to say Mark Twain. This Ernest Hemingway story, where like there was a bet who could write the shortest and most impactful story, like with the least amount of words possible. So he won with a 6-word story. So the activity is basically tell your story in 6 words. So you could brainstorm and bring in a whole bunch of different stuff that makes you, but then how do you tell that story? And for me, the story was alligator snapper at the Bronx Zoo. That's my 6 words. That's my why. That's who I am, but that's also my why. And I tell people all the time, and that was because I love turtles since I was 5, but I went to the Bronx Zoo when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I saw this 200-pound alligator snapping turtle, and it changed me. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more out there than just what's in my backyard or just what's in the area where I live. And that opened my eyes, and I started reading about turtles more and that sort of thing. But I tell people all the time that like I can't believe my life is real. I have an amazing family, an amazing job, but I wake up every day because turtles exist. Sorry, probably.
That's what I was going to say. You triggered it again.
Yeah. What was it? Tell me.
You triggered it again. That's what I was going to say. It was inviting people to the podcast, and like the people who said yes, I was just. Yeah. I was kind of like, is this real? Is this like, am I going to wake up and I was just dreaming about this? Like, do I actually have these people like to talk to? And yeah, it's amazing. And it just, although I don't do anything like physically yet that I want to, like visiting places and, doing things. And like, I want to go to Canada to help turtle guardians. I think I've lost you again. You frozen. No, we're good?
I'm here.
Are we good? Okay, no, it's fine. You froze for a second. So, yeah, no, my chinchilla keeps distracting me as well. If you're wondering why I keep looking over like that, he's just the cutest little guy. They're just balls of fluff. I did miss the story though. It froze, so I don't know if, which is annoying because that was a great. I'm sure that was a great story. But
it may have worked. The story I was telling you, miss, it may have worked. Maybe when you look at the recording, it might still be there. But what I was talking about was the alligator snapping turtle at the Bronx Zoo that opened up my eyes that things outside of my neighborhood exist. And then I started researching, and the rest, as they say, is history. I love that though, what you had mentioned about this community, and then you inviting people on, and them saying yes. You were smart. I don't know if you thought about this, but you were smart because you invited a couple of podcasters on early too. And I'll just say that, we know what it's like to try to build a podcast from the ground up, and we know what it's like to ask someone to come on. And it sucks when you have to try to find somebody, but it's fun to be a guest on a podcast because I don't have to run it.
It is. Yeah, no, it is. It's fun to like, the whole thing is fun. And as I said to you earlier, I went in with like, an open mind, no hard feelings. As we both have said, people will have their lives, especially, like people that are like Chris and Casey and you, and like you're busy, people have lives. They don't have enough time to respond to everyone. And if you have a bigger following, you get a lot of people messaging you as well. So between that and I was just going in with reasonable expectations. I think that's probably why it blew me away so much, was like to get, I know I keep bigging you up, but you deserve it, so I'm just going to keep doing it. People like you who are doing incredible things. That's a segue, because I can't wait to talk about it. I've literally been telling everyone, tell us about your most recent achievement, which is the thing I've been really excited to talk with you about.
Well, I guess I'll go a little more broad, because I know you had asked me specifically about this species that I produced for the first time called Cora pani, which is Pan's box turtle, which I might be the only private breeder in the US producing them right now. I'm not sure. There might be someone else who prefers to be quiet, but I know the best breeder of them is not anymore. But that's a species that is like on the way to becoming extinct, like right now, like really, really. So we talk about all these rare animals. Come and see the giraffes and, and the pandas and all these other things. Like, these turtles are as rare as most, as the most rare species in the world. We don't even know how rare they are a lot of times. Well, I almost dropped my water. So anyway, they're really, really rare. But I've hatched quite a few now in the last couple weeks that I've hatched for the first time. So it takes decades to, bring in the animals and get them acclimated to each other and build the groups that they could one day become a breeding group, or to raise them from really, a young age. So actually in the last, I think it's 2 weeks, I produced 6 different species that I've never hatched before, which is amazing. So and cool. Some of those species are some of the rarest in the world, like the Coahuilan box turtle, which is from Mexico, which is one of the rarest turtles in the world. And for anyone who doesn't know, turtles are the most endangered vertebrate group on the planet. So that's more than frogs, and probably only rivaled by like the great apes, like primates. Anyway, Cora pani, Pan's box turtle, is a species of Asian box turtle, which that genus Cora is the most endangered genus of all turtles. So it's the most endangered of the most endangered. It's like a whole other level. And these guys are not yellow. And the reason that matters is because a lot of the more golden colored turtles get a lot of attention in Asia. Collectors and things like that. So species like Cora mccordi and Arocapitata and the golden coin turtle, Cora trifasciata, those species are a little bit more like rock stars in the turtle world. So they've been bred more in captivity. Arocapitata maybe not. They were separated out from Pan's box turtle. Anyway, I'm being a nerd, so forgive me. Anyway, these guys are green. So like I love it. So. Right? Yeah, you think about a normal turtle, like when people think of a turtle as being green. Pour myself a drink. These are green. That's okay. Pour yourself a drink. So they are green and they're really unique. And anyway, they haven't gotten a lot of attention, but they're on their way to becoming extinct. So to hatch them in captivity is a really big deal, and I'm really proud and excited about that. But
same.
I've hatched
I messaged you, didn't I? I was like,
yeah, go ahead.
I was like, oh, this is such a big, like, I think I was almost as excited as you were, maybe. And my hair is starting to play up.
Mine too.
Yeah. I know. It's a struggle, isn't it?
It is.
I don't know what I've done. I've got so much hair. It's like unbelievable. I'm not sure what's happening on this side. Oh well. It's like waist length. It's crazy. There's so much of it, but I love it. So, but yeah, no, it's every time I saw a new one of your posts, just like hatching another one, I was just like, I don't know. I felt like proud, and I don't like, maybe that's not the right word, but I was just like, I think it's because it's just such a cool, amazing, incredible thing, and it's just. It's a bit mind-blowing. So I can't even begin to think how it feels for you if I feel like that.
what's weird is that I've tried for years to make it happen, right? So the Coquillon box turtles I got like 8 years ago, and actually they were gifted to me because they're on the Endangered Species Act. They can't be sold across state lines. So they were gifted to me by a friend of mine who you may have heard of, named Chris Leone of Garden State Tortoise, who we've already talked about ad nauseum at this point, right? So they were gifted to me like 8 years ago.
We're such a fan,
but then the Pan's box turtles, I think I got like 7 years ago. And then these other turtles that I produce, I got 5 years ago. So they, over the years, I've been kind of bringing these animals in and trying to set them up in really appropriate habitats where they could thrive. And then for whatever reason, this is just one of those years where things started to click. And now eggs are hatching. Every year there's kind of heartbreak. Yeah, maybe I hatched this thing, maybe I hatched that thing. But a lot of things are coming together this year. And then on top of that, a lot of things are coming together for the first time, which is really exciting for some of these species. So I can't even tell, like I'm getting chills as I say it because I can't believe this is what I've always hoped would happen. It's kind of like if you build it, they will come, but it might take 10 years. It might take 15 years. And that's been the case. So it's a lot of years of dedication paying off all at once.
That's what I mean though. Awesome. Like if I'm this excited, then you just must be, again, just pinching yourself just because it is just, it's phenomenal. So big round of applause, I think.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
It's like anything else. I hate to say like this because it makes me sound like a jerk or whatever, but like, you ever hear people say like, when you make more money, you just spend more money and then like your perspective on everything changes. So like, I grew up on welfare. I was like poor as a child. We lived in I shared like a bed with my dad because we had a 1-room apartment, like totally inappropriate. But so when I think about it from that perspective, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my life is real. But also like now I'm like, man, it's been another day and an egg hasn't hatched. Like, what the heck? Like there's supposed to be eggs hatching every day now. So I think, again, like it's an important exercise to step outside of yourself and your situation and remember where you came from and remember how much progress you made and just appreciate. Because honestly, my favorite thing in the world personally, I have an amazing family, beautiful daughters, great job. But my favorite thing in the world personally for me
awesome friends
that I love, awesome friends like you, is seeing a turtle hatch out of an egg. That's my favorite thing in the world. Nothing makes me happier than that. So, just remembering to stop and just appreciate the fact that like I get to do what I've tried to build. I've tried to build this for 15, 20 years, and now I actually get to just enjoy it.
No, it's cool. I've not seen a turtle being hatched, but I mean, when we were kids, we hatched like ducks and chickens and quails and stuff like that. And I think it's one of those. Yeah, I was very, very lucky to have had so many animals. It's just ironically just no reptiles, but to have had the experiences, because seeing these creatures see for the first time and make their way out, and it's just it's quite, you can't really describe it. It's like seeing the Northern Lights. I don't know if you've ever seen the Northern Lights, but it's just one of those things.
I have.
Until you have experienced it firsthand, it's just, there's no way to properly describe how just amazing it is. Oop, I keep missing my straw.
Yeah, it's incredible. I could remember, you'll get it. You'll figure it out. I can remember back, so I played basketball in college. I mentioned I'm really tall, but that was like 100 pounds ago. But I can remember we were playing really important games. It was my senior year. And what we would do on game day is we would have like a shoot around in the morning, or maybe the day before a game. Like if we wanted to relax, we would come in and like scout the other team. We'd be like, all right, here's what the other team's going to do. And we would like walk through it like in our sweatsuits or whatever. I don't know. And I can remember being at one of those and showing up, and it was the first time I was ever hatching a reptile. It was bearded dragons, and I was living in the most important moment of my life as a basketball player, as an athlete, and remembering like it doesn't get any better than this. My senior year, it's done after this year. That's it. But I was so genuinely excited about these lizards that I had hatching at home that I could not wait to leave, this important thing that I would love to go back to. this time that I recognize as one of the most important and best times of my life, that exact moment, like at the end of my senior year of college basketball, I could not wait to get home to see these lizards hatching. And it's that important. And bearded dragons don't even need to be bred. Turtles, the turtles that I'm hatching, most of them are going extinct or are extinct in the wild. So I'm trying to save the world with these little things.
I wish I could just get on the next plane and just come and help. It's just I couldn't leave all my animals.
You come whenever you want. Yeah.
Whenever
you come to the US, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, like when I can afford it, I'm like straight on that plane. If I would drive to the airport right now, if I could, like genuinely,
and then I could drive you down to Chris's too. It's not that far.
Yeah, and then we can. I can't. It's just it's gonna be worth the wait for sure.
Right when it happens,
I don't want to wait.
Pressure.
But
when it happens, it'll happen. It'll be great.
It's just when you want something like so bad, because I as I said, like I want to be physically doing things to help, like in Canada with Turtle Guardians and Turtle Rescue of the Hamptons, and they're two big turtle tortoise people that I talk to quite often. I've got my Turtle Guardians calendar behind me. New month today, which was great. I don't know if you're familiar with Turtle Guardians.
I'm actually not. No.
Oh, you have to follow them. Yeah,
I will.
Big them up. I'll talk about Turtle Rescue of the Hamptons in a minute, but they've got I shouldn't have favorites. I love them all, but I have a special connection. I've mentioned this like in posts before. I have a special connection with this Jeremiah. Oh, it's all blurry.
Come on, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
Oops. It's tough to see. Common snapping turtle. Jeremiah.
Yeah. They're always busy, like doing amazing things. And I know it takes a lot to put these photos and calendars and stuff together. I know we're like we're nearly at the end of the year now, but I know that they on their shop, they have the calendars, I think at like $10 or something at the moment. So even just for the pictures, I think it's worth it for the pictures, and they've got t-shirts and all sorts.
Sure.
So yeah, to the listeners, if you want to support them by doing that, if there's anyone in like UK and Europe, at the moment on their website, they're only shipping to US and Canada. So if anyone listens to this, sees it and wants something specific, but you're in UK and Europe, just pop me a message and I'll sort something out with them.
Cool.
So, but yeah, Jeremiah's story, she was run over by a car and her back legs don't work. And the first time I heard of Turtle Guardians was I saw a video of Jeremiah on her skateboard. She's got a skateboard that helps her get around, and it's good for physical therapy as well. And I cried. I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've I was just like, it was just good people doing good things for good animals. And I fell in love from there. So I think I wouldn't say favorite because I do love them all, but I think because Timothy and Jeremiah on Valentine's Day, funnily enough, I think it was last year, maybe this year actually, that was quite a while ago now. Timothy escaped and got into Jeremiah's tank because they're friends. But yeah, they captured it on the camera, and it's just hilarious to watch. But yeah, I talk to them a lot. I share their posts when I can, or ask my friends with bigger followings when they need people to do emergency. They post. Yeah, also anyone in Canada and sort of near Ontario. I know I say that weird. Another weird, that sounds weird in a British accent word. They post needing lifts to and from injured turtles or turtles that need help. So keep an eye out on their account for that. And if you can help, then please do. You lovely folk. That's the power of the internet, which is great. It's one of the most positive things of the internet. Like I wouldn't, without the internet, like it has its downs, but it certainly has its ups. Like without the internet, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met a lot of my close friends now. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go and help, you know, specifically, I was going to try this year. I couldn't, unfortunately, but I did want to go and help Turtle Guardians, and, you know, but I'd have to go out twice because they do their training for like a week and then like a month or so later. And they wanted me for 4 months. That was the thing. And as much as I would have loved to, I just couldn't get someone to look after my animals for that long or be away for that long. But I know the right time will come eventually. And when I meet all the turtles there, I'm just going to like absolutely lose my mind and cry a lot, most likely, because I've had video calls with Jeremiah. They've been kind enough. There's a video on my Instagram where they've been kind enough to let me just talk into Jeremiah's ear, and Jeremiah's kind of like, who is this strange person? And cool. Timothy as well. But also mentioning Turtle Rescue of the Hamptons. I think you're a bit more familiar with, maybe. I know Chris knows them as well.
I actually wasn't following either, so I just followed both of them on Instagram. But I'm bad on Instagram, that's why. Like, I'm not plugged in. I just kind of make posts and don't check it. I'm more active on Facebook because I'm old, but I am now following both because you brought them up. So, and I'm familiar with Turtle Rescue the Hamptons, of course.
Yeah, they deserve just all the praise. I'm always forever saying, like, anyone that goes through. I don't know if you saw the post about Bubbles initially, the first one, the box turtle that was illegally kept as a pet for 70 years.
No. Oh, yeah, the 70-year one? Yes, I have. Yep, I saw that one. Yep.
That still haunts me. That I saw that, and I was in tears, and I just said, I don't know how you guys, like, I have made a video on it, but I don't know, there was something wrong with the recording that I still need to sort out. But just getting like their perspective on it, and was just saying, like, this is the worst thing we've ever seen, and, you know, we cry every day, and just to give them the respect and praise that they deserve for doing that kind of thing, because I've seen animals that have, you know, been neglected or are in bad shape, and it is heartbreaking, but at the end of the day, they have done incredibly, and given Bubbles a chance that he wouldn't have had otherwise, because he looks great now. You know, he couldn't eat on his own before. He's now eating on his own, and, you know, getting all the good things that he needs. And so last week I was at the pub and I said to them, maybe the day or so before, I said, oh, would it be all right if I could, like, see Bubbles, you know, like, have a chat with Bubbles, you know, on video? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then I was at the pub. I got the video call, and I was just like, oh my God, and just ran out. and then stood in the rain, like, talking to Bubbles just on my phone. And it's just like, they're busy people. They've got
That's
a
nice
lot
that they did that.
Sorry.
Nice,
yeah, no, I was like,
that's just funny.
Oh, it means the world to me. I know some people might think it's a bit silly, or, oh, it's just a turtle, or, you know, but I fall in love with them. I personally get very emotionally attached. I really feel for them, and then just for them to they have so many, like, they were showing me how many animals, how many turtles they've got in at the moment, and it's crazy. So if anyone listening wants to support them, you know, you can support them for free by giving them a follow, liking and sharing. Like, as I always say, liking and sharing and commenting. You don't even, like, donate if you can, of course, but it's, you know, sharing's caring. But, you know, doing all these things is it's free, and it helps them, and then, you know, it leads them to more support and, you know, more financial help to look after to look after these animals, and give animals like Bubbles a second chance So we'll go on and on and on and on about how much I respect and love everyone there in both charities, because they have both taken time out of their days several times, so some strange British woman can have a conversation with a turtle. I mean, like, how nice is that? That's just
it is very nice. 100%.
above and beyond. And I really, because it makes
what I do
day.
is what I do is more, is different than that. And I recognize and appreciate the folks that are doing the rescue work, because, like we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. I don't remember if we were recording at that point or not, but like you get into it because you love the animals, and then you have to see all sorts of heartbreak. And that's exactly what the rehabbers and rescuers are doing. So I have nothing but the utmost respect. Now, I think, and I'll just say this for anyone who's thinking about like which side they want to go into, I think it's really important to pick a lane. It's not just like, oh, my interests bring me in this direction. That's the biggest part of it. But it's also, I think focusing is important too. So, sometimes people will try to make, where they want to breed animals, and they'll try to build like a 501c3 nonprofit organization or whatever. And then they want to call it like a sanctuary. A sanctuary is more of like a rescue term. That's a place where animals go to live out their days after they've been rescued, and a place that knows how to give them what they need and not breed them for profit or even to save their species. So there's different, it's tough to do both. You're also putting, like for me, I would be putting these critically endangered animals at risk by introducing animals that need to be rescued. Oh, it's a hoarding case. These 30 turtles need a place to go. Could I take them? Yes. Should I? No, I should not, because that could jeopardize what I do with the animals that I have. So I think it's important to just understand and prioritize and then pick a lane with what you're trying to do. Yeah. So my heart goes out to those folks that are doing rescue, but I don't do it myself.
Yeah. No, I feel like personally for me, I think I'm at a bit of like a crossroads with that, because I feel very strongly about, doing things to help, like, especially wildlife and that kind of thing, because, those two charities don't only take in injured turtles or turtles that need rehabilitating. They go out in the field and help them across roads, or they sort of do they breed the they incubate, and there's so many layers to it. But I think right now my focus is rescue, but I think in a few years, like when I've come out to the US and like I've met you properly, I've met a couple of friends properly, I've met up with Chris and Casey and see everything firsthand, and Turtle Guardians and Turtle Rescue the Hamptons, seen everything firsthand, because I have firsthand experience with rescue and rehabilitation, but I don't have firsthand experience on that side of things. So I feel like I'm sticking with what I know right now, and then learn more, physically do it, and then sort of go from there. But I just want to help all of the animals and do everything for all of them. I know it's not really an achievement, but I could definitely.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. It's and that's the thing. What we started off talking about what you can do with what you have in terms of skill set, but beyond that, interest. If you're interested in something, like what's going to make you happier, is providing a home for that animal that needs it, hatching the eggs out of the road-killed mother, or hatching the eggs out of a species that's extinct already that you're trying to raise to keep them from going really, really extinct, like the dinosaurs or the dodo bird. So like whatever, and I know for me, the thing that makes me the most excited is seeing those eggs hatch. I just love it. So as much as I love getting out in the field, I don't think I'd want to do that as much as I care for my own animals. I could reduce the animals I have. I can not have any animals and just go spend every free moment in the field. I wouldn't enjoy it as much. So it's a very individual thing. I could tell you what I would do based on my
because you've had experience in and I'm still figuring it out because I haven't like seen all sides of it yet. But I think well, right now it's just financial. Like that's the only thing that's stopping me right now, which is.
I recently saw a YouTuber who was just crushing cigarettes in his reptile room.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. You have a visitor. Whoop.
It was real awkward.
Have you seen the I think it's a BBC interview with the guy and he's talking about something like really serious. It's like one of my favorite clips like ever. And one of his I think it's like his daughter comes in one of those, like baby things that they have, the circular things that they run around in. Yeah, it just comes smashing through the door, just like it's so dramatically, and then followed by one that's a little bit older, followed by the mum that's just like yanking them out. Oh, it's so funny. I'll have to send it to you if you've not seen it, because it's so just good. It's so funny. Yeah, and somehow my other one, just a very short tangent, is the guy that ended up being interviewed like live on BBC, who had the same or a similar name as someone that they were interviewing, and he was the complete wrong guy that had no idea what he was talking about and just completely winged it. It's great. He actually does really well, to be fair. He does pretty well. But it's great. I'll send them to you because it's just it's so
that's funny. So that person who came in, that was my wife, Shannon, who is my co-author of. Is it even here? Here we go. Let me pull this off the bookshelf. See if it'll work because I have my background blurred as well. Oh gosh, is everything gonna go crashing now? Whoa. Okay. Turtley Devoted to You.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was going down. Turtley Devoted to You, which is a book that we wrote together about what it's like to be to live your life with a better half who's obsessed with turtles. So it's written like it's kind of, it was kind of fun. So every single bit of the book is written like if you were on a double date and you're sitting there talking to a couple and they're telling you a story and one of them starts to tell, oh, and this is what happened, blah, blah. First one went, and then the other person says, no, that's not how it happened. And then they start to tell their version and then you go back and forth the whole time. So like I'll write a paragraph, then she'll write a paragraph, then I'll write 3 paragraphs, then she'll write 2 paragraphs, then I'll write a paragraph. So anyway, it's just telling stories about the ridiculous things that have happened over the years and us, giving our own 2 cents. Anyway, check it out. It's on Amazon. And it has
I was waiting for the pause to go. You can get it on Amazon and Amazon UK as well. So
that's right. It has sold extremely poorly, just so you know. But
you get the pity buy.
See that? But the people who have read it really, really love it. I've gotten amazing feedback.
That brings us back to a topic that I was talking about with Terence yesterday, who's a vet tech. He said that you've got to go through it several times a day sometimes, sometimes and multiple times. And not only have you got to, you've got to sadly euthanize an animal, but you've got to deal with the families as well. And it's just, I can't imagine like just that, because for the families, it's obviously
a roller coaster though. So like, that's the big scary one, is that idea of euthanasia, trying to console a family, trying to work with them. Sometimes the emotions hit you. Now, what happens when your emotions are stronger than theirs? What do? You have to remove yourself from the room, right? But the tough part that I think people don't realize with the veterinary industry and dealing with that is you've got to go from that appointment to the new puppy. And now you're emotionally drained, and now you have to show them excitement. Otherwise you're cold and they don't like you either. So like you
get upset because they don't like you because you're upset, but they don't understand.
Right?
But it's a
lot
not your fault,
of pressure.
Yeah, no, anyone that works in the industry, just a huge shout out and a thank you and your support. If I'm always here for anybody that if you need to talk, you can drop me a message. Like if I'm busy, I might not reply straight away, but I'm annoyingly selfless and I can't leave someone hanging. Like if I see a message, I will be there for someone. So I mean, I've struggled myself. So if anybody needs emotional support, I'm not just here for the educational side of things. I know what it's like to, and sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than to someone that knows you more, but also understands the situation. So yeah, if anybody needs someone to talk to, then please reach out to someone that you know will be supportive of you and and it's back again. In a very important topic, but yeah, I'm always here for anybody, not just from an educational perspective, from in any sort of way.
It's great.
So yeah. Gosh darn it. Stupid Wi-Fi. Okay. So yeah, no, in case anyone missed that, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You got this.
That's what it's about.
You're stronger than you
think. It's all about building a community, right? It's all about building a community. Nobody's in any of this alone. You know, you can't expect people to solve your problems for you necessarily, but to be a listening ear, there are people out there who want to connect just like you do. So it's about finding those people and finding happiness within you, but then also finding people who understand, because your family, they're not going to understand. The deeper you get into this, they really are not going to understand your obsession. So it's nice to know other people that share the obsession who can also support you as well.
It's usually criticism, but not from a harsh place. It's kind of like, well, why did you take on the kittens? And it's like, so what? You expect me to leave newborn kittens in a dank, dirty shed, like frozen and starving? Like, come on. I don't know if you have to be a different kind of person to be able to live with yourself, and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself. So anyway, let's talk about something fun. What species is your favorite to work with, or species is I can't think, I'm too tired to think what the plural of species. I think it's just species, isn't it? Species.
It is species and species. Yeah.
Species.
Nice.
We've been on this for like 2 hours now.
I know. I don't know. My favorite is probably Cora McCordi, the McCord's box turtle, which is named after my friend, a veterinarian from New York, is probably my favorite in terms of their personality. And then there's also leaf turtles of the genus Shell-ebrate, which is what I wrote my first book about. Is those two species in that genus? They're very small leaf turtles.
Don't forget to buy his book.
Yes,
it's on Amazon.
It is. It's and actually that's what Lakai is. The leaf turtle that Chris has.
Leaf turtle.
Yes. Shell-ebrate thinglerai.
Love.
They're awesome.
Love. That little guy is.
I'm telling you.
The goofiest little Muppet looking, like, not in the word, so Muppet can be an insult in British English, not in the insulting way, but also just general Muppet. That guy, I've said to Chris and Casey myself, I was like, you know, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm struggling, I'll pull up a video and it will be Chris going, "It's Lakai!" And instantly I just feel so much better. Like, they're like my emotional support animals. Right? I swear, like
totally.
They're just
from across the pond.
Yeah. Turtley from across the pond. 2 in 1.
Turtley.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're really comical in everything that they do. They're small. I mean, they check every single box, you know, in terms of a keeper. So I think though probably those three, the two Geomyda species, and then the McCord's box turtle. But honestly, the list goes on beyond that too. That it's tough to narrow it down to just one. I really do enjoy them all.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, on my friend's podcast the other day, he's like, so what's your dream species or like your favorite species? And I was like, okay, so my favorite frogs are this. My favorite lizards are this. My favorite monitors are this. My favorite tortoises are these. My favorite turtles are these ones. And it was just like, I just can't. This always blows Americans' minds. Like I can just drive to Denmark. I can just, I can get in my car, drive my car onto a train, drive to France, and the Americans are like,
right. And it's easier too to move, like within Europe. It's relatively easy compared to us to import animals from country to country, which is not always the case. Well, it's not the case, in the U.S. So I see, people buying animals from people in other countries much more often than that happens in the States. So yeah, my friend had them. I haven't talked to him in a little while, but my friend did have them in Wales, a group of them, Spengleri. So I'm sure it's possible. And my understanding is that they're much more affordable in Europe than they are in the US.
I mean, I've never seen one for sale, so I wouldn't know. But I know, I know they're quite hard to get a hold of. But I would low key drive to Denmark for them because not I don't want it to seem, I don't want to come across like I only want them because of the the way they look or whatever. Like I just generally think they're a fascinating species. Yeah, one of my favorite videos is when Chris opens the tank and he like the guy's like neck is fully extended, and then at the same time, I don't know how he did it, but when his head goes in like that, Chris goes up like that, and it just fits really perfectly. And I'll send it to you because it's like it looks like it's Lakai, like obviously he wasn't making the noise, but it's just, I've watched that video like I don't know how many times, but
they're super comical. I think I probably have the largest group of captive bred ones in the US, maybe one of the largest groups in the world, like 30 something of them. But there might be some other people out there somewhere who have more, but it's one of the largest for sure. And I get to see all that behavior and everything. They're tough though. They're tough to breed. The thing that's great with them is they're like a crossover species for reptile people to get into turtles, because it's everything you love about geckos and dart frogs mixed in, because you can keep them in that bioactive vivarium and they don't trample the plants to death. Any other turtle will either eat the plants or trample the plants to death. So they're like the best of both worlds. Yeah.
The only turtles that I've had is the Chinese soft shell that I had for a bit. I've had like common musks, the stink pots, which people think are really cute, but then I mean they're called stink pots for a reason. They're hard work, lots of cleaning. Map turtles. What else have I had? But yeah, no, there's some of my goals. But just talking about keeping them kind of leads to our last sort of question, which it doesn't have to be specifically what is the key to proper turtle and tortoise keeping. It would be that, and do you have any sort of tips or advice that you would give to people, like if they're listening to this and then they look at Chris and Casey. So Chris and Casey are at Garden State Tortoise, just in case I didn't make that clear. And I'm wearing my Otis Zilla t-shirt, my Garden State Tortoise Otis Zilla t-shirt. If anyone sees a video of, I know there are a lot, the Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtles are a lot easier to get in the US than they are in Europe. If you're thinking of getting one, or Otis the box turtle, who has a very unique personality, they're not usually like that. Just bear that in mind. If you're thinking of getting one, then of course it's my duty to say, please do your research and make sure you know what you're doing to take care of them. You know their care requirements, their diet, their lighting. Arcadia Reptile have a great lighting guide on their website, and you can type in any species. I think they've got quite a lot on there, and it tells you exactly what you need, and the distances and everything, any supplements they might need. But yeah, diet, lighting, these things are essential for them to thrive. Environment, and do cost a lot of money. So also please bear that in mind. I'm not saying don't get one, but just please do your research. And yeah, be responsible. So yeah, over to you for tips. So I couldn't not just get that little bit in there, because it's important to say.
Yeah, you have to give the disclaimer. You have
Don't
to bring it back to.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
It's my responsibility as an educator, and to say, it just occurred to me. I was like, as amazing as they are, I mean, I don't think I'd even get one yet, because I don't feel comfortable enough that I would know enough about keeping them. So I will wait, because I just assumed that I wouldn't get my hands on one for a while. But
I'll help you.
Yeah, no, now you said that, I'm just going to be like, I'm going to go full autism in like the internet now, and just be like,
yeah.
That's the good thing about autism, I suppose. It's like, you just with subjects you like, you just like absorb it like a sponge.
You can absolutely focus in on it.
Yeah, it's great in that sense. But yes, please be responsible. Rescue if you can also. And if you are buying from a breeder, just make sure that they're ethical. They're not doing it for just profit. They care about the animal's welfare. Their animals are well looked after. I understand that some people don't want to rescue. If that's your preference and I'm not going to change your mind, then I don't hate on you for that, as long as you research your breeder beforehand. I know I will be able to find breeders that are ethical and, in the US or whatever. And sorry, last one, I think. If you are in the US or Canada, make sure that you have an exotic vet close enough to you that you are willing to drive to, even if it's, 2 odd hours. My friend Jamie at House of Pancakes has a great US and Canadian reptile exotic vets, not dictionary, what's the word? Directionary? No, I'm getting there.
Directory.
It is directory, yeah. So House of Pancakes has on their website and on their link tree, I think it's on mine as well, US and Canadian exotic vets that you can see in your state, which are closest to you. But please, if it is 2-3 hours away, please don't get the animal if you can't take it to a vet, or get it help if needs be. So that's my rant. Over to you.
Yeah, I love it. I think there's like kind of a 3-part answer to this question about, the key to proper turtle and tortoise keeping. What is it? What is the key? So for me,
it's kind of
the first 2 fit together, though. So it's trying to replicate their natural environment. So you have to educate yourself. So many of these animals, you think of like the ball python, like they're not a wild animal anymore. Like, this is how we keep ball pythons, and you don't have to look at how they're kept in the wild, I guess, to some degree. You just look at how this person is having success with them. So
they do
that's
like
part of it, right? So that's where you get these debates, because a lot of people don't give them much. But understanding the natural history and the natural environment where the animal lives, also different life stages. So all of that rolled into, here's the natural situation the animal has access to in the wild. And then juxtapose that with what people have done to be successful. And then ask why. Okay, so-and-so has been successful doing this, this, and this, but they do this that way and they do this that way. And then ask why. And you can ask yourself why, and you can ask the literature why. You start to look, okay, someone is having success with this rare animal, but they're doing it by keeping them individually. Why is that important? Well, maybe they get stressed out. Maybe the males are really extra loving and they like to let the females know that 24/7. And that becomes an issue. Talk about sleep deprivation. Those poor females are being bothered by the males constantly, right? So those first two kind of fit together. And then the last one.
Tortoises mating, though. That's
right. They don't stop.
Funny.
Yeah, they just don't stop. Yeah, exactly.
It's just
exactly.
I lose it every time.
Right.
Every time.
So could you imagine having that be your roommate? Forget it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that would
too much. And then the other part, picking things that fit your own climate. So I think, for me, there's a lot of species I love: star tortoises, Burmese stars, Indian stars. I've always wanted Burmese stars. I've never kept them. I have kept and bred Indian stars, but I don't have them.
I've seen a couple, but I've never kept them.
There's leopard tortoises are a species. You talked about.
I fostered a couple for a while. Yeah,
they're great animals. They're great, and I've bred them in the past. But they really, that's an African species, and where I live, again, I'm up above New York City. It gets very cold here, so that means I'm bringing them in, and they're cold. They're cold, and more importantly, they're dry in the winter, and that's an issue for some of these species. So, I keep species that can get cold. I keep species that like seasonality, like a warm, humid summer and a cold, dry winter. So that's important.
Is there an episode on the Pondcast that you discuss this? I think as well. I think it's one of the earlier
Probably.
ones.
I think this is something that's come up a lot. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Think so.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah, no, that's go check out the Pondcast. Another plug there, cheeky. But yeah, sorry, do continue. Sorry to interrupt. But...
No, that's it. That's it. Really, it's just understanding your own limitations, your own abilities, not letting that get in the way of ego or pride or trying to create something that's going to make people real excited. It's and then also growing slowly. I think there's an organic growth. If you take on too much too early, new things, you have to figure them out, and you really want to be able to lend enough time and energy, money, blood, sweat, and tears sometimes to setting something up the right way and making sure that you get it really dialed in before you go and add the next thing. Yeah. And I think in today's society of like instant news and information and gratification, we're always looking to get that next thing, that next dose of dopamine. I think it's really important to just remind yourself that these are living animals that deserve nothing but the best. And if the best isn't with you, then you really need to be honest about that and say no sometimes.
Yeah, like I've admitted before, when I started out, I was doing that. I went through a really bad breakup, and that was my vice. And because I felt like I wanted to be, I needed to be rescued. And I didn't think about it. And I that's another reason why it's important for me to educate people, because again, I've been in those shoes, and I regret it every day, because they weren't getting the best, they weren't, and everyone has to start somewhere, but just don't do what I did. It's very tempting, and especially if you're if you love animals and such. And it is hard for me to admit, because as someone who's just starting to grow and make connections with people, I don't want that to be the focus for people, because I don't want people to hear that and think like, I want people to think she'll admit her mistakes and she's learned from it, and now her animals are well taken care for. Maybe what can I do to, are my animals being kept, good standards and this and that. Like, I know, as I said, you're gonna get people that disagree with you, but it's a hard thing to admit. It is.
Yeah.
And as I said, I regret it, but I can't live in the past. I can live in the now and in the future and know that I'm going to do the right thing. And if I can't, then, you know, I can't have the animals. And that's that. So
yeah, I think that's a really great call out. And that's a good kind of place to, I think, leave off this conversation too, is like nobody's perfect. And I think going back to that conversation about like reaching out to people on opposite ends of the aisle, you know, we humans, as flawed as we are, love to be extremely critical of other people who are doing similar things that we are. People that live within our space, you know, that are into reptiles. In our case, using us as an example, and saying, "Well, I wouldn't do it that way," or "I can't believe they did that," or this and that, and just understanding, like giving a bit of humility, leading with grace, to say, "Okay, I understand that people make mistakes, and I've made mistakes, and it's not about that. If somebody's struggling, all we can do is, you know, maybe reach out, going and talking crap with one of your friends, talking smack behind the scenes to say, oh, I can't believe so-and-so did whatever. That's not helping." And also understanding that you might reach out and say, "Hey, I just wanted to help," and offer blah, blah, blah. And they might say, "Forget it. I know what I'm doing." Well, okay, well, then they have a lesson to learn too. And just removing yourself from it and understanding that, like, in order for us to be successful, we need to extend the olive branch, even if that means it's going to get thrown back in our face sometimes. And we need to try to do what we can, the best that we can do.
Be harsh.
Absolutely. And it is what it is.
It's the internet, you know, it's the internet. That's why people like me exist. And a shout out to Educate, Don't Berate as well. They're a lovely bunch of people. My friends, they are there for that very reason. You know, I'm hoping to be a part of the team soon. Team Educate, Don't Berate. So yeah, if you Google them, you'll find the website, and you'll find loads of different people. They're really similar to me. You know, just want to help, educate, and don't berate. We're not going to come at you. We're not going to say you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, because it's like, it's not helpful for anyone. And I'm too nice anyway. I wouldn't be like that. So but yeah, no, just be kind, help others, be good to animals. May life treat you the way you treat animals. So
love that.
Yeah, no, my friend Erica has that as a tattoo, and I'm like, I want that as a tattoo so bad. But
I want that as a tattoo.
Oh no, you have to wait until either you come here or I go there, and then we'll get them at the same time. We'll get matching ones. Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
But yeah, before I sort of do closing, is there anything you want to add, or where can we find you? I know we did touch up upon that at the beginning, but yeah, where can people find you?
I'm the only person in the world with the name Anthony Pierlioni, and that's my handle on Instagram and and on Facebook, my name at both places. I don't have a YouTube, but I probably will in the next day or two. I don't even know what it's going to be called yet. I'm still working that out. So find me on Instagram or Facebook, and then you'll see some YouTube stuff coming your way soon. But and obviously my nonprofit, the Turtle Room, is a great place for information and turtle related content. So check us out there as well. But just as a closing thought, I guess I wish you nothing but the best, Alex. This is really cool to be a part of so early on in your journey. You have to have me on in the future. Again, I'm inviting myself.
Oh, for sure.
Just to connect with you after you're running the world. Yeah, exactly.
We're besties now. So, like, I can feel it. I can feel the love.
I'm telling you. Yeah, and I wish you the best of luck. I think this is great that you're doing this, and something that Exotic said to me. I had her on the Pondcast, and she was one who I was like thrilled, like, wow, I can't believe she wants to come on my podcast. That's amazing. And she said that the algorithm.
She's really nice.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Right? Yeah. So
really
something she said though that stuck with me is the algorithm loves competition. So what you might, in your little brain might see, not you, but I'm just saying us people may see as competition, right? Oh, this person has a podcast just like mine. What's going to happen? What if they have more listeners than me? Actually, when there's more content with the same subject matter, the algorithm learns that this is important to people, and it actually pushes it up, to get more viewership. So if there are 5 channels doing the same thing, that's better than if there's one, and it goes up from there. So so I wish you lots of luck, and I think the more the merrier. If you're out there watching this and you're thinking you want to start your own, do it, because our community needs more ambassadors who are just here talking about the right way to do things.
For sure. Thank you. And to all of the listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Reptile Rendezvous podcast. And remember that every bit helps when it comes to protecting these amazing creatures. So stay tuned for more episodes coming soon. And until next time, just keep swimming and stay wild. Thank you for listening.